What if I told you that there is a very common mistake, one of the number one mistakes that new leaders tend to make when they are faced with a difficult conversation? Would you want to know what that secret is or what that mistake is so you don't make it? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about it for a few moments. Difficult conversations are hard. How many of you have ever been in a difficult conversation as a leader and felt like it was very difficult? It happens. But there are ways to make difficult conversations not so difficult. This channel heavily focuses in on advanced communication skills and strategies. If you are new to me, welcome, welcome. If you are one of my amazing subscribers, welcome back, friend. I'm here to support you in a way that I can so that you can communicate more confidently and concisely under pressure. Now, when we talk about mistakes, the most common mistake that I see new leaders make, and sometimes, believe it or not, seasoned leaders make this mistake, is when you are in a difficult conversation. Perhaps you are the receiver of the information, maybe you are the giver of the information. But typically, the mistake that people make in difficult conversations is that they become very, very, very defensive. Now, I know sometimes when you're in those difficult conversations, it can be hard. It can be really challenging because you are essentially being put in an under pressure situation, as I call it, and you're in the hot seat. And a lot of times when we are in the hot seat, our very first response is to do what? Defend ourselves. No, I didn't do this, and no, I didn't do that, and that's not correct, and etc. Why is this a mistake? Because when you are at a place where you are trying to communicate more confidently, when you're in those very under pressure like situations, you want to remain calm and in control at all times. Yes, I did say at all times. And I know some people will say in the comments, there's no way you can do it at all times. You can't be in control of your emotions at all times when you're in these hard conversations. Well, I want to share with you, if you question that you cannot do this, then we have to think about why is your mindset that way? Because ultimately you can do anything. You truly can. Sometimes you may need some support to do that. If you happen to be a woman in leadership, you're welcome to reach out to me at exciteexcellence.org. I have an executive strategy session that will help you to start thinking about how can I go about being able to control my emotions under pressure so that I don't become defensive when I am in a hard conversation. Let me say hello to Coffee Man. Hope you're doing well today. And Coffee Man says you're calm. Well, I'm glad that you're calm, friend. Now, the most common mistake for those of you just joining the live, welcome, welcome, that new leaders make when they are in a hard conversation is that they become very, very defensive. They become very, very defensive. And it, in a sense, it takes away from your calmness as a leader. And if you are trying to develop these very advanced communication skills that will help you to stand out from everybody else, that will help you to earn more money in your careers, that will help you to accomplish that big mission you're trying to do in your life, then you absolutely want to remain calm at all times when you're in those situations. Now, let's go a step further for just a few moments. What are some things that you all think you can do to help you not be so defensive when you are in a difficult conversation? Put them in the comments below. Let's talk about them. I'll share with you a couple things briefly that you can do that will help you. One of the tricks that I use with my clients and I have done personally that helps me to remain a bit more calm in those difficult conversations so I do not come across as being defensive. Now, before I go into that, if you like this information so far, you feel free to give it a thumbs up. It does allow it to reach more people in the wonderful world of YouTube. And if you are somewhat interested in what I am talking about, you know, maybe there's a part of your communication style that is lacking. It's not where it needs to be. You get frustrated under pressure, or maybe you freeze when you're speaking to other people, then you should absolutely subscribe to this channel. I go live here at least 7 to 8 times a week. This is the only channel on YouTube that focuses on advanced communication strategies as it relates to helping you communicate in those very high stakes, high pressure situations when you're in a visible role as a leader. Now, one of the things I would recommend for you to do, number one thing, Number one way for you to not become as defensive when you are in a conversation is to prepare in advance. Andy L940 says, hello, Andy. You can try your best to prepare in advance. So I'm going to probably go into more detail on this evening when I go live, but I do want to say this. If you can come to any conversation, yes, I mean any conversation, with having some data, some statistics in mind at all times, it helps you to have facts in those very hard conversations, and it helps you to feel a bit more in control. A lot of times people become defensive in those very high stakes, high pressure conversations because they simply don't know what to say. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. They don't know when to say it. They don't know where to say it. And the first response is that immediate, like, defense. I'm on defense. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. Well, I want to encourage you to think about this just a little bit differently. Bring some data points about your specific role or your specific industry that talk specifically about the successes you've done, and make sure you talk about those instead of becoming very defensive. Let me know if you have any questions about this topic. I will be live this evening, and I will see you all in the next video.